Good morning everybody and welcome to online Messy Church with Surrey Chapel. We're really sad we can't be with you in person this morning, but we have some great activities planned for you and we're so excited to join in online together instead. My name is Annie. In a little bit, one of our pastors, Andy, is going to come and speak to us. But first, we're going to sing a great song called Every Step. And you're going to need to get your marching arms and legs ready to join in. Here we go.
It's lovely to have you here at Messy Church at home, and I'm going to tell you a story from the Bible, and it is brilliant. I don't know if during this period you have spent any time digging in the garden, or maybe in some sand, or maybe you've been to the park. I know my children, they absolutely love getting out the old trowel and just digging. They don't really know what they are digging for, but they just love the mess, discovering the worms, getting their hands all dirty, wiping them all on their clothes. Do you know what that's like? Does your grown-up think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Well, just imagine you were digging. And rather than just digging for fun, you actually found something. You found a slinky. Oh, that would be exciting, wouldn't it? Or imagine you found a bird, and not any sort of bird. A bird that spoke, but was an electronic bird rather than a real one. Or what about this? Imagine you found a ring with a diamond. A ring that you thought, don't like the look of that, but your grown-up thought, wow, that looks like it's worth a lot of money. That would be so exciting, wouldn't it? You were just digging for fun and you found some buried treasure. Well, in the story we're looking at today, Jesus tells a story about a person, a man who finds some buried treasure. Let me read it to you. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. He said, Jesus is saying here that finding him, being part of his forever family, the kingdom of heaven, is like finding treasure in a field. Now, this man in the story, we don't know if he had a metal detector, boop, 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 or whether he was just digging with his kids having fun, or he was just walking along and he tripped over something. We don't know. But he was walking through a field and he finds this treasure, and he looks at it and his eyes light up as he thinks, this is worth a lot of money. Wow, this is so valuable. And he looks around and makes sure no one else has seen this treasure, and he buries it back in the field. And he walks out trying to not draw attention to himself, and he gets out his phone and he figures out who owns this field. He goes on all the kind of government website stuff and Google Maps and all of that and finds out the details, and he rings them up. It's the local farmer. How you doing, local farmer? Just wondering, I saw your field. Do you want to sell it to me? How much is the field? How much? And he goes, okay, I'll see if I can find the money. And he goes home and he looks at his car and he thinks, if I'm going to be able to buy this field, I'm going to have to sell that. And then he looks at his bank account and goes, wow, I need more money. And so he looks at his house and thinks, if I'm going to buy that field, I'm going to have to sell that. And then he looks at his phone that he's been using and he goes, if I'm going to buy that field, I'm going to sell that. And he looks at his children and he thinks, I can't sell them. I'm not going to sell them. But he looks at everything he has. All the important things, all the small things. He thinks, do you know, to get that field, it's going to cost all of that. And do you know what? The passage says, this man says, in his joy, he went and sold all he had. His wife must have gone bananas. But he said, no, really, no, it's okay. Trust me, we need to sell it all of it, because we need to buy this field. And he went and he sold it all. And he got just the right amount of money, and he took the money and he gave it to the farmer. And as the farmer gave him the ownership deeds to that field, everything in that field belonged to him, including the treasure. And in that moment, he became rich beyond his wildest imaginations. You see, Jesus says, that experience of the man, the joy he felt, all he was willing to go through, is what it's like for someone when they find Jesus and they hear about his kingdom, being part of his forever kingdom. It's worth giving up everything to have, because it is so valuable. You know, why is that? Why is that? Well, it's because knowing Jesus means every single wrong thing that you've ever done can be forgiven, so you can be friends with God. It means when we look at the world, and there's lots of scary things, can't there? There's lots of things in the world that can make us scared. Actually, we know that we can be part of his forever family and his eternal kingdom. So even the most horrible things in this world ultimately won't be the end of us, because he can take us through death to know him forever in paradise. And being part of his forever kingdom and forever family means that we can know him now. And that changes absolutely everything. You see, Jesus says being part of his kingdom is like finding buried treasure. And we'd all love to do that. And then maybe you think, do you know what? When I think about Jesus, I don't think it sounds like buried treasure. It sounds pretty awful, a bit boring. And maybe if you think that, maybe you haven't actually understood who Jesus is, why he's come, and why he is the best news. And it may be that you're a grown-up and you want to think about that more. Well, if you go onto the Surrey Chapel YouTube page, we've done a whole series of talks looking at one of the eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life, where you yourself can dig in and say, okay, Jesus, you say knowing you is like finding buried treasure, prove it. And you can have a listen, you can investigate for yourself. They're 20-minute talks, they're all on YouTube. There's a whole series of them, you can have a look at them. But isn't that brilliant? Jesus says being part of his kingdom is like buried treasure. How exciting is that? I'm going to pray. I'm going to hand you over so you can do some of the activities. Let me pray. Father God, thank you so much for this story that Jesus tells us, that being part of his kingdom, knowing him, is like finding buried treasure. And for those of us who've forgotten that, we want to say sorry. And for those of us who maybe haven't discovered that for ourselves, we pray that it will help us to find Jesus and find why his being part of his kingdom is the best news and the best thing that you could ever have and worth giving up everything for. In Jesus' name, amen.
Are you ready to sing another song? Our next song is called Jesus is the King. See if you can join in with the clapping, and watch out for the extra person that keeps appearing in the video too. Then after the song, if you keep watching, there's going to be some craft instructions for you to follow and join in with at home. Let's go.
Here are the things that you're going to need if you want to make a treasure bottle. The first thing is an empty plastic bottle, and it really importantly needs to have a lid that fits on the top. The second thing you need is some rice, or you could use lentils or sand even if you're at the beach. You're also going to need lots of little objects to hide inside your treasure bottle. So I've got things like a coin, a dice, a pom-pom, a little marble, got an elastic band and some ribbon, things like that. And you might need a funnel. That would make it a bit easier to get the rice into the bottle, but you could also make a funnel out of paper, or you could just do it by using it with a spoon. And I've also got some tape and some scissors here. So the first thing you need to do is to either make a list of all of your objects. You could write it down, you could draw them, or if you have a camera and a printer, you could even print out a picture of all the items that you're going to be looking for in your treasure bottle. And the next thing to do is take your bottle and put all of the little items inside. So after that you can see it dropping in. So I've got the die, I've got the marble, I've got the elastic band and the ribbon, I've got 2 coins, 1 copper and 1 silver, I've got a screw, I've got a little tiny bow, a sequin, 2 paper clips, pom-pom, a silver ring, and some more sequins and a little counter from a game. And the next thing to do is to pour your rice on top. I'm going to use the funnel here. Put it in the top. Oops. There we go. Can you see it all coming through? It's a lovely noise, isn't it? Oh, listen to that coming through there. And it's covering up all those things that we've hidden. There we go. Now make sure that you leave a bit of a space at the top, otherwise there won't be enough room inside to shake the thing around. Then you just pop the lid on nice and tight and get a piece of sellotape, pop it around the top, and that's really important. It keeps everything inside, makes it nice and safe for you to play with as well. And can you see that our items are hidden at the bottom at the moment? And if I give it a good shake, then all of our objects get hidden inside the rice bottle, and your job is to go on a treasure hunt. And by shaking the bottle and moving it around, you can see if you can find all the items on your list. And that's how you make your treasure bottle. Here are the instructions for making your treasure chest. Now, some of you may have contacted Annie and been sent something that looks a bit like this in the post. If you have, this is your net for making your treasure chest. That's the bit of card we're going to use. If you haven't been sent one of those in the post, you can make a very similar version, little simplified box like this, and I'll show you how to do both of these ways. So firstly, if you do have a treasure chest piece like this, the first thing to do is to make sure that all the little lines have been folded up and down a bit to make them easy to move. And then you simply slide them together. And the best way to do this is to put the bottom pieces together with the little pieces, these little pieces, on the outside. Okay, so if I turn it over, you can see I've got the big piece first, then I've got the little pieces on the outside, and I'm going to tuck the flap in at the bottom, and it makes like a little envelope shape. If I show you there you go. And you'll see that on the inside, it's quite hard to show you because it's dark brown, but on the inside here, there's a little flappy bit that needs to be taped down. So just take a piece of sellotape and tape your box together like this. And then the top of your lid will just fold over and slot into the little slot there. So that's what your box is going to look like. Now, if you haven't got the net for making a box like that, you can make your own treasure chest from some pieces of cardboard at home. You need to get 2 squares, and one of them needs to be slightly smaller than the other one. You then need to fold along these 4 dotted lines and snip 1, 2, 3, 4 little snips, and you'll have something that looks a bit like this. And then all you have to do is to fold the edges up, fold the ends in, and then tape them, and then you'll have one little box that looks like that. You can make another one and then pop them together with some sellotape like this. Now, if you have been sent your instructions, you'll also have been sent a piece of gold cardboard, and on that I've written here, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure." Matthew 13:44. That's to remind us that finding out about Jesus and finding out about heaven and being able to have the promise of heaven is the best treasure that we'll ever find. And I'm just going to get a piece of tape and I'm going to stick that inside my treasure chest, like that. If you're making your own little box at home, maybe you could stick it on the base of the box, like this one here. So I'll just get a bit of tape to do that. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to tape my message inside like that. Okay. Now, in your little bag from the post, you'll also have some chocolate coins. I'm going to put those inside the box because every box needs treasure in it. And I'm going to close it up, and you'll see that you were also sent some stickers and some little gems, and you can use those to decorate your treasure chest in any way you want to. Now they're a bit fiddly to get off. Here we go. I'm going to put a row of gems along the bottom like that, going around the corner, and then I'm going to put these stars all over the top of it like this. There we go. Now you can spend as much time as you want decorating yours, but this is just to show you what to do. Okay, there we go. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure, Matthew 13:44, with your golden treasure inside. Here is how to make your treasure map pudding. The first thing you're going to need is some sort of bowl. You could use one that is clear like mine, or you could also use just a normal bowl that you eat out of. You're also going to need a jug with, depending on what your instructions say on the packet, I need 300 millilitres of milk. You need a packet of something like Angel Delight. You can get this in the supermarket. You can make it yourself, like I'm going to, or you can, I think, get it ready-made as well. And you can get all different flavours. There's chocolate, or strawberry, or butterscotch, so get whichever one you like the look of. You're also going to need some sorts of biscuits, digestive type biscuits, and you're going to need some chocolate chips and a spoon and a whisk. If you don't have a whisk, you could also use a fork. And you're going to need something that is red. I've used 2 little bits of strawberry, and something that looks a bit like treasure. And so I'm using bits of cut up peaches from a tin, but you could use some sweets if you wanted to, or whatever your favourite thing is to find as hidden edible treasure. So the first thing to do is to make the Angel Delight. So if I put the jug there we go. I put the milk in, and then the packet says just to add the powder, like this. You can see I've gone for chocolate flavour here. And then you have to whisk it all together till it goes light and airy. Can you see the milk starting to turn brown? That's all the chocolate getting into it. Now you have to do this for about 5 minutes, so I'm just going to pause the video and come back to you in a second. Right, you can see that my Angel Delight is now kind of looking full of air bubbles, and so I'm now going to put my glass bowl down and I'm going to decide where to hide my treasure. And I've decided I'm going to hide my golden treasure over in the corner of the bowl over here. And then I'm going to gently tip all of the Angel Delight on top of my treasure so it gets hidden. Here we go. It's all getting hidden. There. You can't see any of it anymore. It's all hiding underneath that lovely chocolatey Angel Delight. Now, can you remember where I've hidden it? It's over here in this corner. I'm going to leave it now for 2 minutes, just so it sets a little bit. And whilst it's setting, I'm going to get the biscuit crumbs ready. So I said earlier that I've got some digestive biscuits, and I've put them in a little bag. Now you could just break it up by hand, but this bit's quite fun. If you put them into a little bag like that, you can then get yourself a rolling pin and you can batch them like this. Now it doesn't make a mess because it's all in the bag, but it's a lot of fun. What do you think? Nearly there? Still some quite big bits, isn't there? Let's do some more. There we go. Now, that to me looks a bit like sand that you'd find at the seaside. And that's the kind of place you might find buried treasure. So my sand is ready, and I'm going to bring back my Angel Delight, and I'm just going to see if it's ready for me to sprinkle some of this on the top. Oh yes. So what I'm doing now is sprinkling my yellow sand all the way over my pudding. There we go, cover up all of that brown. So the brown starts to look a bit like mud or something now, doesn't it? Now they've got this sand on top. That's on there. And spread it out. There we go. And can you remember, where did I hide the treasure? Was it this corner? No, it was over here, wasn't it, in this back corner? I'm going to use my 2 little bits of strawberry to make an X marks the spot on the top there. There we go, you see X marks the spot. And then the last thing that I need to do is to put these little chocolate chips on so it creates a pathway going to X marks the spot. So here we go. And then when you're looking for your treasure, you'll know which way to go. There we go, all the way to X marks the spot. So there we have it. That's how you make your treasure map pudding, and I hope you really enjoy making it, and I hope you really enjoy eating it and hunting for the treasure.
So I'm going to show you how to make the fizzing treasures. What you'll need is some bicarbonate of soda, also known as baking soda, some food colouring, a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a coin, a couple of bowls, some vinegar and a little bit of water. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 3 tablespoons of the bicarbonate of soda to the bowl. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to add 5 drops of food colouring. Here we go. And a teaspoon of water. and then mix all that together. You don't want it to be too runny, but you want it to be wet enough that you can kind of clump it together. Let's see, mine's a little bit, that's a bit too dry, so I'm going to add a bit more water. Mix it all together. There we go. Then you want to put a lump of it into one hand. Place the coin on top and then put some more of your mixture on top of the coin. There we go. We're going to try and make it into a ball shape. So just squeeze it together into a ball so that you can't see the coin anymore. There we go. So now we'll pop this onto a piece of greaseproof paper and put it into the freezer, like these other ones. These ones have been in the freezer overnight. You can just leave it for an hour, but it'll be better if you can leave it overnight. Then you can give one to somebody who hasn't seen you prepare it and see if they can find your treasure. So you'll need to ask them to put some vinegar into a dish. There we go. And add one of your treasure balls. There we go. And then let's see if we can find the treasure. There we go. Can we see it yet? Not quite. Leave it a bit longer. And there is our treasure. And this reminds us of the story that Jesus told of a man who found some treasure buried in a field, and it was so valuable to him that he went and sold everything he had and then went and bought that field. So I hope you enjoy doing the craft.
Thank you so much for joining in with us an online Messy Church today. We've had a great time and hope you have too. Well, our next Messy Church is on the 26th of September on the theme of harvest, but some good news. If you can't wait until then, we've got kids talks, we have bedtime stories, we have toddlers groups and much more on our Surrey Chapel YouTube page. Make sure you check those out. We hope you enjoy them. Have a great rest of your day and we hope to see you soon. Bye.